Awesome. Well, welcome to another Real Talks, Mama. I hope you all have a pen and paper with you. If you don't, quickly go get one because there's a few questions I'm going to ask you to write down. I'll just wait until Helen comes back. Just wanted to take this opportunity to say what a beautiful world we live in. Coach is still a little bit sick, so apologies in advance if I have a few breaks and have a little bit of a cough up. Fortunately, you can't get antibiotics for a cough. You've just got to let it do its course. Second thing I want to mention is that measles have now hit Hamilton. So if you have kids in Hamilton, please make sure your tamariki are vaccinated if you believe in that sort of thing. If you don't, okay, to fine, maybe keep them home because it's things like kura and stuff like that are quite high infectious. So anyways, so now that Helen's back, we'll jump on board. So I want to ask you guys all a question tonight. What is your next chapter in your life? I don't really care about, if you're young, old, fit, unfit. I just want to know what your next chapter in life is. I want you to really think seriously about this before you write it down, okay? I want you to think about why you're here right now, here on Poolway, here on this call, here in life. The thing is, guys, is that there's a new chapter that's about to start in your life, but what is it going to be? So I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to write that down. So last week, we spoke about, your identity and how they're a direct reflection of your habits. Do we all remember last week's Real Talk? Beautiful. So just a quick recap for those of you who didn't catch it, didn't watch the replay, because obviously Coach was sick, so I couldn't put it, I didn't do it that night. I put a replay up of it. Your habits are a direct reflection. Your identity is a direct reflection of your habits. What is a habit? It's something that you do constantly. It's embedded in you, and it sculpts you to who you are today. So some of us have, and this is good habits and bad habits, guys. Habits aren't always a bad thing. They're a good thing too. So some of us obviously have a habit of brushing our teeth. We do it without thinking about it, okay? That's a habit. And some of us have a habit of, we'll diet from Monday to Friday, and when the weekend comes, we blow our diet out of the water. We start eating shit, drinking alcohol, whatever. That is actually a habit. If you do it every single weekend, that is a habit that you have. Okay, so habits are good or bad. So now I'm going to be transparent with you guys. You can't identify all your good or bad habits in one day. Like, it's literally impossible, because we have some habits that are so deeply embedded in our Poolway garden that there's so much our identity that we're not even aware of it. So, for some of us, our identity is being moldy. For some of us, our identity is, and there's things that come with that. Some of us is being Cook Islander. Some of us is being Australian. Some of our identities is being an alcoholic. Being overweight could be your identity too. And the habits that you've had have created that, but some of us aren't aware of the habits, okay, because they're so deep within us, we're not even aware of it. Okay, we have a habit here in our house that we always do karakia before we have a cry. That is an identity. That's our habit. It's our identity. So we do it without even thinking about it. So starting, so another one that I see often in Poolway is a lot of us, or in other diets too, is a habit could be starting a new project before you've even finished the last one. How many of us will start a diet and we'll get halfway through it and then we'll jump on another program? That's because you have a habit of being addicted to instant gratification. Okay, that feeling you get, that excitement when you start a new project, whether it's a project in the house, whether it's a project of a new diet, whether it doesn't matter what it is, that excitement, that's instant gratification. And you could have a habit of being addicted to that. Okay, so I think a lot of us can be guilty of that habit. So the deeper you dig through your garden over time, you'll unearth habits you didn't even realize that existed. And you'll start to have these aha moments, all right? And the reason I bring this up is because just recently I had an aha moment. I thought I was pretty in tune with myself. I meditate, I create space, I invest in myself, but I had an aha moment. The other day I realized that I have a bad habit of being in control. Okay, when a certain situation always came up, it would just really make me uncomfortable. And that's because I had a habit of being in control. So if I can control a situation, it makes me uncomfortable. And that's a bad habit that I have. My daughter has a bad habit of eating late in the afternoon, and that's why she never ever eats her dinner. Okay, it's a bad habit. She saves all her kai for the end of the day. She stuffs her face. She comes home from school, stuffs her face with food, and then when dinner's ready, it's, I'm not hungry. It's because she's got a bad habit of not eating her lunch at school, and she saves it until the end of the day. You may suffer from road rage, and this could be because you actually have a bad habit of sleeping in, and by the time you get on the highway, you're stuck in traffic. Okay, a bad habit is that identity. Okay, guys, I think we're all following. Are we following? It's pretty clear. It's pretty simple. For a really long time, and I've already told you guys about my story, but we're going to recap on it again, so you guys understand that I know what it's like to be in a position of not being where I am now. And for a really long time, I was overweight and depressed. I was riddled with anxiety. Obviously, it was a direct reflection of my habits, my bad habits of eating. That's why I was overweight. I used to eat a lot of takeout. I also used to drink 4 days a week. Sometimes it'd be 7 days a week. I'd have one of those cheeky wind downs after work, you know, the ones that, I need this. But because I had the bad habit of the eating and the drinking was having an effect on my antidepressants. I've made it very clear to you guys that I struggle with depression and anxiety. So because I struggled with that and the alcohol wasn't helping antidepressants, I turned to weed to help me sleep. So now I've got alcohol, drugs, and bad food. No wonder I was overweight, depressed, anxious, not getting anywhere in life, okay? So these are bad habits, right? I had these habits for 7 years, guys. 7 years. That's how long I had those habits for. Some of you guys may have some of these habits your whole life. Some of you guys might have had it for 1 year, 2 years. It doesn't matter. Don't get me wrong, like I tried to exercise. I'd be like, oh, cool. And I've told you guys, like I'd try and get on it just to go look good for the clubs or something like that. But I'd go for a run or I'd go for a surf and then I'd come home and I'd down a box of alcohol. So obviously those habits weren't reflecting my identity that I was trying to, well, my habits were a reflection on my identity. I was unhealthy, I was overweight, and I was depressed and anxious. So I used to have these conversations with myself about why I couldn't stick to a plan. And I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but I used to convince myself that I had some sort of medical problem. Like, only I am struggling. No one else struggles like this. There must be actually something seriously wrong with me. Like, why can't I get motivated? Like, I must have some sort of disorder. Have anyone on here ever had this conversation with themselves before? You've convinced yourself that there's actually something wrong with you and that's why you can't get your shit together? So I'm absolutely guilty of it. And I was thinking about it today. I was cracking up. I was laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, I used to tell myself, like, you've got an issue, girlfriend. That's why you can't do this. No one else has your issue. That's why they're killing it. That's why they're, losing weight and they look fit, because you have an issue. So you might even have this conversation with yourself when coach says you need to learn to meditate. You might say, yeah, but I'm really wired. Like up here, I'm so wired. I can't switch it off. Like I'm going 100 miles an hour. I've got kids. I've got a husband. I've got a business. Do. How can you possibly ask me to meditate? I'm too wired for that. And you've convinced yourself that you can't do it because you're so wired. All right. So on Monday, I asked everybody and I can see Nadia laughing because she's like, girlfriend, you know this. So on Monday, when I put my video up, I said to you guys, I want you to message me through Trainerize in regards to your love, health, wealth, and happiness. Out of 57 mama on here, I had 4 responses. 4. That isn't even close to 50. Now, there's an F word that's been going around lately in Paul White, and I absolutely despise it. I hate this word so much. It makes me angry when I hear it, and every time I ask a question, I hear it all the time. Now, I know you guys know I hate swearing, but this F word is not the F-bomb you're thinking of. It's actually the word of fine. Okay? Your health, wealth, love, and happiness is fine. I don't need to answer coach. I don't need to write to her because it's fine. How many of us can put our hand up and say that you agree? That you go, oh, I'm fine. My health is fine. My life is fine. My wealth is fine. My love is fine. Your health is fine, really? You're fine lugging around an extra 15 kilos? You're fine not having the energy to get up to your kids and run around with them? Your love life is fine? You're fine feeling like a roommate with your spouse? You're fine not feeling fulfilled, not having fun? Your wealth is fine. You're fine with not having the money to be able to invest in yourself, to be the best version of yourself. You're fine working a job that underpays you. So here's the thing about saying you're fine. It's actually a genius word, because if everything's fine, it means you don't have to work on it. And that's why we say we're fine. Okay? But the word makes me so damn angry. And because we're on a program trying to improve all 4 pillars of our lives, and we describe life as fine, we should be so happy that we have the tools to, and we should be excited and empowered to be a part of this sisterhood. But we'll describe life as fine. What a flimsy and fable word to use, guys. If you're crappy, say you're crappy. All right? If you're killing it, say you're killing it. If you're unhappy and you're struggling, say it. Just be truthful with yourself. All right? The biggest issue we have with using the word fine is that we actually convince ourselves that we're fine not having those things in our lives. That's why I hate the word fine. I'm fine. It's fine. My family has always struggled with weight issues. It's fine. We'll wait until the kids finish school to get a divorce. I'm fine. I don't need to feel happy. I've never felt happy before anyway. This morning when you woke up, each and every one of you guys woke up, 150,000 people passed away. And you survived. You're here for another day. You're not fine. You're freaking fantastic. So I want you guys to grab your pen and paper, and I want you to write down love, wealth, happiness, and health in any order that you want. Put it down like this. Next to it, I want you to write good or bad. There's no in between. There's no fine. There's no it's okay. It's either you're happy with it or you're not happy with it. Guys, getting what you want in life is actually simple, but it's not easy. First, you need to know what it is that you actually want. So now that you clearly see which pillars in your life need work on, we can start making some serious changes. If you're struggling with your health, you only need to make one little habit change. It may be just getting into the habit of actually logging your food in. It doesn't matter if you go over your calories, under your calories, or don't hit your macros. Just get into the habit of logging your food in every single day. If you're killing that, get into the habit of hitting your calories. Once you get into that habit, then start focusing on your macros, because each and every one of you have strong points and you have weaknesses. And I know because I see it. Some of you guys absolutely smash your training, but your Kai lets you down. Some of you guys smash your Kai, but you struggle to exercise. So if your health is an issue and exercise is a thing, I just want you to go and walk for 10 minutes every day. That's it. Next week, do 20 minutes. Get into the habit, okay, guys? And this is the truth. I'm going to tell you guys the truth. No one ever actually feels like it. No one feels like getting up at 5 a.m. I don't. No one feels like having salad over chicken or over a Big Mac. No one feels like saying no to partying and drinking and having a good time and having a water and going home early. But the thing is that when you create the habits, it becomes your identity and you do it naturally. Okay? So over the last 7 years of my life, I just made little changes. One, I just said to myself, that's it. I want to start waking up early. So what did I do? I just set my alarm. I wouldn't give myself anything else to do until I did that. Cool. Set my alarm, set my alarm. I just keep getting up, keep getting up. I wouldn't get up and exercise. I just kept getting up, getting up. That became my identity. Cool. That's a habit now. Now when I don't even set my alarm, my body already wakes up at 5:30. It actually sucks because if I want to sleep in, I struggle. But it's such a habit. Some of you guys may have a habit of snacking or a habit of momo kai. You can't stand your kids wasting food, so you eat their food. That's a habit. And when you look in the mirror, can you see the reflections of those habits? Trust me, guys, I want to go eat a Big Mac. I want pizza. I want donuts. But because for so long of my life, I implemented the habit of saying, nah, Cole, it's okay. I'll just have this, or I'm prepping. That now it just comes naturally to me. I naturally want those foods now because it came a part of my identity. So same with logging Kai. These are the things that I hear a lot of. People go, I don't have time to log my Kai in. Guys, I don't want to bloody log my Kai in either. I've got so much shit I need to do. I'm on my computer. I'm texting you guys back. I've got my kids. I don't want to log my Kai in. But how am I supposed to manage what I'm eating if I can't see it? I've heard so many times on here people going, oh, log my Kai in at the end of the week. Log my Kai in at the end of the night. No, you can't do that. Nadia, 245 days she's logged her Kai in for. That's a habit. Even on the days where like I go on holidays and I'm like letting myself have, you know, food that I wouldn't normally eat, I still log that shit in because it's such a habit for me. Like, yeah, it doesn't look that great, but I log it in still. So no matter what you want to do, no matter what your identity is, guys, you need to create the habits that come with it. And all it takes is one, just like that kink in the hose. If you try and push all these new habits through that kink like water, it maybe stop or it maybe trickle through. But how you get the kink out is by slowly implementing one thing at a time. Every time you take something away, add something. If you struggle with wealth, maybe you could put $5 away a week. And then in 2 weeks' time, you could make it $10 because you're going to get so used to that habit of not having that $5 that then you're not even going to notice it. I used to have a habit of not being able to spend money on myself because I'd feel so freaking guilty about it. Like I used to feel so bad, like, oh man, I'm going to go pay $80 for my lashes. You know, my girl, I could spend it on her. I'd find things to spend it on. But the moment I started investing in myself and I got into the habit of investing in myself, I don't even really notice that $80 anymore because I've done it for so long. So you might have something different. It might be pool wear. When you first thought about coming on a pool wear, like, oh, I don't want to pay $25 a week. Like, you know, that money, that's heaps of money. I could go somewhere else. But now that you have the habit and you realize what comes from that habit of paying it, you don't even notice it going out anymore. Okay? So the biggest thing about improving parts of your life is being able to identify where you need to improve, okay? You may think that you're fine and you've got this shit covered, but until you actually notice it, you won't. Christine's having a good old laugh over there. So that's why I got you guys to write down today what your identity is, why you're here on Pool Way, what your next chapter is, your love, wealth, happiness, and health. write down whether it's good or bad, not fine, because we don't do fine anymore, because like we know, fine is just justifying to yourself that it's okay that you don't have it. Okay, so now that you have a clear path on what it is you need to work on, let's link a habit to that you can start improving it. If it's your love life, if you are not happy with your love life, maybe just one day a week, you could put aside 30 minutes to talk to your partner. For some of us, it may be 30 minutes too long, okay? But 30 minutes just to have that conversation with your partner. And then in 2 weeks' time, maybe an hour, depending on how much you like him. You know, you might just keep him around because he looks good. Don't know. So, and then build on it, and it'll become a habit to the point where my partner and I, we are so damn busy. Every single week we go on a date. Sometimes we go on 3 dates because we know the importance of all 4 of our pillars. We can't be the best versions of ourselves if we're not happy, if we're not healthy, because you know that you need to look after your temple to get anywhere in life. If we're not, when I say wealth, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're rich, because wealth is different to everybody. My wealth is just being able to have the flexibility to be able to attend all my kids' things. So it doesn't mean I'm abundant, but it means that I have enough money to be able to look after myself and invest in myself. And I work a job where I feel like I'm recognized and that I'm paid my worth. So that's what wealth is for me. Wealth for you might just mean that you can buy a book every week. Wealth for you might be that you can afford your supplements. It might be that you can get your kids the best basketball shoes. Wealth is different for everybody. And so is love, because love may not necessarily mean just your partner. It may mean yourself. If you struggle with happiness, there's one thing I want that I can't stress enough, because it's something that I used to stress, something that I lacked for a very long time. If you struggle with happiness, you need to learn how to meditate. Why? Because meditation allows you to be present. If you're always present, you have absolutely nothing to stress about. When we start thinking about the future, we get anxiety because we're thinking about the maybes, the coulds, the what ifs. When we start thinking about the past, we're depressed. I could have done this, I should have had this, da 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 da. If you catch yourself drifting, be present. And I'm going to tell you guys how I be present. You'll probably laugh at Coach and be like, man, she's a bit of a weirdo. But how I be present is, I'll start with this. Depending on where I am, most of you guys who've been part of Poolway for a very long time, you know that I love the ocean. I grew up on an island. I'm a beach baby. So I love to feel things on my feet, whether it's earthing myself to the grass, earthing myself to the ocean, sand, whatever. Or if you're in the middle of something and you're like, and you got shoes on, your feet. So I start with my toes. I think about my toes. I'll squish my toes. And I know it sounds silly, but it allows me to draw my attention to what's actually happening. Cool. How does that feel? Yeah. Okay. I probably need to get some new socks. I think there's a hole in them. All right, cool. So now I'm bringing myself back to being center with myself again, right? And then once I do that, I work my way up my body. Okay, how am I feeling right now? I'm feeling pretty good. How's this air feeling? Yeah, it's nice. Where am I right now? I'm sitting here with my kids. My partner said something, it's triggered me. And now I'm angry because I'm anxious because I'm thinking about what might happen, but I brought myself back to being center. And now I'm present. And in this present time, guys, I have nothing to stress about because I'm sitting here, I'm talking to all of you beautiful mama who want to make a change in your life. So why am I stressing about what could happen or what did happen? So bringing yourself back to being present is the one thing that will help you with happiness. I can't stress about that enough, guys. So learning how to meditate. Why meditation? Because meditation allows you to understand your body better. It'll teach you how to breathe. And when you get in touch with your body, I know a lot of people are like, ooh, this woo-woo stuff, but it actually does work. It actually scientifically works. So if you're not a woo-woo person and you're more scientifically based, go Google it, and I promise you'll find out, the facts that you need to know about it. So meditation, if you guys are interested in a meditation that I do every day, It's called 6-phase. Okay, it's a guided meditation. If you're new to meditation, it can be quite hard to get into on its own, because if you're quite wired, like I used to be, I'm like thinking about 4,000 things. Sorry, guys. I'm thinking about 4,000 things at a time. How can I possibly sit here for 10 minutes and close my eyes and not think about anything? Try and tell me not to think about anything. I'm a mum. I own a business. I've got 1,000 things happening. So guided meditation is the best way to start, because it talks you through it. Okay, 6-phase is amazing because it teaches you how to forgive. It teaches you love, and it teaches you visualization. Okay, it's awesome. Like, there were some things that, like I said to you guys, that were so embedded, rooted into me that I had no idea. And every day I learn something new about myself because I'm aware of it now. When I'm triggered, I'm aware of it. Okay, cool. What is the habit that I do that keeps making that happen? All right, ladies. So thank you so much for being on our chat tonight. I hope you pluck some gems out of this. I'm just